What will happen that day? I promise my wife never to do it again because it was broken afterward. Once they are completely shocked, it begins. André Rieu, a famous Dutch violinist and conductor, is appreciated worldwide for his stirring performances and his talent for revitalizing classical music. Over time, Johann Strauss managed to use his orchestra to delight audiences and make classical music more accessible and enjoyable for everyone. He has brought remarkable experiences to music lovers around the world, selling millions of CDs, playing in major concert halls, and creating unique encounters. Now that he is approaching his 80th birthday, there is a dark truth behind his achievements. Despite Rieu's fame and successes, he faced numerous problems in his personal life. He showed a part of his life that is in stark contrast to the upbeat music he plays on stage. His job put a lot of strain on the dynamics in his family. Before turning to the present, let's look at the path that André Rieu took to become a good conductor in a life marked by music and dedication. A journey into the world of music and family life. André Rieu was not only born into a musical family, but also grew up surrounded by classical music. André Rieu Sr., André Jr.'s father, led the Lindbergh Symphony Orchestra, where he also worked as a conductor. André Jr. played the violin there until 199 and began taking violin lessons at the age of 5, which he completed at the conservatories in Lest and MRT, as well as at the Hungarian Gartler Violin in Brussels. Hermann Krah was another institution where he took classes. His interest in saloon music began with his involvement with the Ed Maestri Saloon Orchestra in the year 1978. He received some recognition in the Netherlands and in the German-Belgian border area. For several years, he worked with some of his former colleagues from that time. His first albums were also recorded during this time. Since the 1980s, Rieu has been touring worldwide with his 60-member Johann Strauss Orchestra. Having previously played a Guarneri copy by Jean Baptist, he now plays the violin created by Antonio Stradivari. In Germany, he became known for his appearance on the program Musenstadel alongside Karl Mick, with whom he maintained a close relationship. Rieu regularly creates special programs with various pop singers that are shown on television or sold on DVD. The programs take place in addition to the concerts during his tours. The band consists of singers and soloists. In addition to his regular concerts in large halls, Rieu also played in stadiums around the world during his World Stadium Tour. He used an almost perfect replica of Schönbrunn Palace for orchestras and performances during his stadium performances. Everything was shown on impressive displays. Various ballet groups from the Vienna State Opera and the Vienna Opera took part in these performances. Guest artists regularly appear at concerts. Examples of such artists include the Platen tenors, the Berlin Comedian Harmonists, and the sopranos Carmen Monarch and Marujah Lowe. André Rieu has been giving 5 performances in the summer months since the year 1500, originally started with just 3 events. 12 events now take place every year in July, each attracting 17,000 visitors. To appeal to a larger audience, Rieu and his orchestra perform classical compositions adapted in an easy-to-understand way. His interpretations of many rhythms in pop songs such as ZB, Shanty Song, which he performs without any dissonance, enrich the orchestra's classical repertoire. He uses lighting effects and sound enhancing methods, causing some professional music critics to describe his compositions as musically superficial. He uses well-known classical melodies to present them more attractively. He conducts the Johann Strauss Orchestra and also plays the violin during his performances. Additionally, he often addresses the audience or television cameras rather than leading the orchestra in the traditional manner. Johann Strauss Jr. was actually a stand-up violinist during his performances. The Save Life in Schools initiative is supported by the Bjornsteiger Foundation, of which Rieu is the patron. In his work, he also supports people who suffer from the rare skin disease erythropoietic protoporphyria. His recording studio is based in Micht and has 120 permanent employees as well as many freelancers and subcontractors. His performance schedule is the same every day. A dedicated transport and maintenance system with dual equipment, stage construction, lighting, sound technicians, and a kitchen operated by several chefs, including a traveling doctor, ensures the events run smoothly. Events run to avoid delays due to transportation. Musical instruments and scenarios must be performed 3 times. 3 copies of the replica of Schönbrunn Palace are also on display. His son, Pierre, and his wife also work in the company he manages. Belgian director Lita Belaber Hoover has been in charge of managing the production since 2010, when Piatwick was in charge of the production. André Rieu's concert tour was the 4th most successful in the world. In 2009, with $554,242 tickets sold and revenue of $57.04 in the first half of the year, which placed 4th in the list. André Rieu had a difficult path. Although the Johann Strauss Orchestra had a significant influence on classical music, at the beginning of his career, he was viewed with skepticism and even criticism by experts. Many music critics found his playing style too simplistic and inappropriate for the seriousness that classical music requires. They thought that Rieu was commercializing classical music, turning it into a commodity rather than preserving its artistic value. In the late 1970s, Rieu decided to found the Johann Strauss Orchestra, which would later form the basis for his musical career. That was the beginning of his journey. The orchestra was once a small band, founded in the year 1980, struggling to survive in the harsh world of classical music. Rieu pursued ambitious goals in politics. He wanted classical music to be made accessible to a wider audience and contribute to a more immersive experience. However, this vision ran into problems. Soon after beginning his efforts, critics began to claim that Rieu was diluting the core of classical music in order to entertain. Many thought his approach was superficial and criticized him for prioritizing the show over the content. Even though they distrusted him, Rieu did not give up in his pursuit of his goal. He believed that classical Music should be accessible to all and that performances should inspire joy and compassion. Since the classical music environment at the time was often serious and sometimes unpleasant, this way of thinking was considered revolutionary. Rieu tried to create, through costumes, dances, and audience involvement at concerts, an atmosphere in which audiences could enjoy classical music without formal burden. There were mixed reactions to this innovative technique, although some viewers admired it. Were there also audience members who relied on deviations from tradition? The criticism of Rieu was not directed at him, but inspired further work. She knew that classical music had to evolve and strive to reach its audience and not die out. Rieu once explained that he doesn't want to win everyone, but wants to make those who are passionate about music happy. He was able to attract a local audience while staying true to his vision by using this strategy. He began organizing concerts attended by people of all ages and families, attracting those who distanced themselves from conventional classical performances and sought something new. His concert series, especially the annual summer concerts in MRI, became important cultural events as he cleverly combined classical music with a festival atmosphere. Participation in the N. Strauss Orchestra brought additional problems. Although it was a joy, Rieu faced many financial and administrative problems in the orchestra's early stages, especially when he had to support it with his own money. Hiring musicians, creating expensive scripts, and organizing tours incurred high costs. Rieu's pursuit of success with the independence model is particularly noticeable in an industry often dominated by large companies with lots of money. Nevertheless, this resulted in high levels of debt. The story of André Rieu could be seen as a story of trials and successes. During his successful career, he struggled to pay off a large debt of $34 million. There was more to this sum than just a written number. Alice threatened to take away everything that was important to him, including his priceless Stradivarius violins and his reputation. Others reflected on the difficult time. The past is over. He said that the COVID-19 pandemic not only changed everyone's lives but also greatly affected Rieu's career. His debts of $34 million left him in a hopeless situation. Money problems for him. The orchestra was more than just a job. There was a family atmosphere. He had 120 employees, all of whom had to be paid. During the difficult months, Rieu received financial support from the government in the form of a €1 million aid package. Thanks to this life-saving help, he and his orchestra were able to overcome even the most difficult times. He expressed his great gratitude. He said that this money saved them. André had already struggled with financial difficulties. He remembered the year 2000 when he first went into debt due to his high expenses and expensive trips. At that time, I was responsible for the theft of €34 million. Everything belonged to the bank. Also my studio, my CDs, my Stradivari, and even permission to use my name, also my studio, my CDs, my Stradivari, and even permission to use my name. He said the bank believed in him and offered him another job. I was told that they trust me, that's why I should just keep making music. A year later, a miracle happened. André has not only paid off all his debts, but also has 20 million euros in his account. I never doubted my abilities and was always surrounded by supportive people. His health was the biggest obstacle for him, not his financial obligations. Due to a viral illness, André had to interrupt his tours for 3 months in the year 2020. To be honest, my health was more important to me than my financial situation. I was confident I could pay my bills, but my health was uncertain. After his recovery, he radically changed his lifestyle. He started going to the gym often, eating healthy and balancing his personal and professional life. Over time, André Rieu was not only able to return to the stage, but also become stronger than before. He smiled when asked about the lessons he learned from the challenges. Ultimately, it's important to commit to never putting your wife in a similar situation again. In this section,